Gourd Gazebo, an agricultural emporium of some of the most unusually safe gourds known to man. We think they're just gorgeous. How about you? For your safety, please stay seated. We'd hate to have you get knocked in your gourd by one of ours.
Look at the blankets. You want to see the cow?
Shh, we have to be quiet through here. We don't want to spook the cattle. When they're standing still like that, it means they're going to attack. Or not. The question we get asked the most here on the farm, besides where are the restrooms, is, can you eat the corn? Well, you can, but you won't like it nearly as much as the cows do. This corn variety is grown primarily as cattle feed. We like to plant it because it not only makes a strong, tall border, but it gives you something to ask us about. Another question we get asked a lot is, which pumpkins are good to eat? Well, you can eat any pumpkin you'd like, but the big ones just don't taste as good. They taste more like a squash, their cousin, than a pumpkin. Sugar pie or sugar pumpkins are the best to cook and bake with. And don't forget, you can eat the seeds too. Did I hear someone asked, how do you grow a pumpkin? Well, here's how we do it here at Yasugi Farms. Before we plant the seed, we need to get the ground ready. Oh, look, here's the scarecrow getting it ready now. We use tractors and all kinds of equipment to disc the ground to get rid of all the weeds. Then we make sure the ground is nice and level. Land planing, as we call it. Then we rip or chisel the ground. This loosens the soil, letting in air and moisture so the ground can become more fertile. The most precious thing we have here at Yasugi Farms, aside from our beloved visitors, of course, is water. We bury an irrigation hose right down the center of the row under the soil where we're going to plant the seeds. This is where pumpkins need water the most, under their roots. This is called drip irrigation. The final thing us farmers must do before planting our seed is shape the beds. This is called incorporating, and not only does this make the bed look all pretty, but it makes the ground fluffy so the vine can pop through. Now finally, after all that work is done, it's time to plant the seed. Earlier, the guys were having a tough time starting that tractor, but I can see they've finally gotten it to turn over. Anyhow, we plant our pumpkin seed the last week of May to the middle of June. We can plant 4 rows at a time, making our jobs a tad bit easier. Now, depending on the variety, we may skip a row or two to give them more room to do their pumpkin vine growing thing. After they're planted, it takes the seed about a week to germinate. Sprout their first leaves called cotyledons. These cute little leaves are followed by the bigger true leaves, and in about 3 weeks, they'll sprout their kind of yellowy orangey flowers. The first flowers to grow are male flowers that produce pollen, then the female blossoms. Female blossoms are easy to spot because they have tiny pumpkins at their base. Bees will transfer the pollen from the males to the females. This is called pollination. Now, once pollinated, the fruit at the base of the female blossom develops into a full-size pumpkin. Make sure you be careful in this neck of the fields. Here he is, folks. It's Pumpkin Pete. Some say he's not much of a farmer, but we think he's outstanding in his field. If he seems a little stiff, it's just because he thinks you're taking his picture. See how the pumpkin vines spread out? Some varieties can grow 3 feet in a week and can reach out to be more than 30 feet long. Those curly little grabbers called tendrils will curl around anything in their path. Sticks, weeds, plants, slow-moving tourists, anything. Pumpkins take about 3 to 4 months before they are fully grown. Once they are, we stop watering them and let their vines dry out. Our crew then goes into the field and cuts the pumpkins from their vines. They load them in bins and take them here to our pumpkin patch. Oh, look, here's the crew now. We grow pumpkins on over 70 acres scattered all around the South County area. In fact, pumpkin planting must be rotated each year, meaning you can't grow pumpkins in the same soil but once every 3 years. Now here at Yasugi Farms, we grow over 25 different varieties of pumpkins. Some are best to carve as jack-o'-lanterns, others are good to cook with, and some are just plain cool. Here we are at our sunflower gallery. Sunflowers are one of the fastest growing plants. The tallest sunflower on record reached a height of 25.5 feet tall. Sunflower leaves are phototropic, which means they follow the sun's rays throughout the day. Now, on your left are the famous Rouge Vif d'Étampes pumpkins. That's French, sometimes called the Cinderella pumpkin, because it was the inspiration for the carriage in the fairy tale Cinderella. The reason you came, the most spectacular sight you'll see all day. A true wonder of the world. A splendiferous sight of epic proportions. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Get your cameras up. Today's the day. Never before, never again. I give you, without further ado, the much heralded, the much anticipated, the much ballyhooed, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Marigold Land.
Wow.
We plant over 60,000 marigolds in this field each year, all by hand. We first start them in a greenhouse, then transplant each plant by digging a little hole with a trowel. Then we place the root of the plant in the hole, then pack the dirt back around it, just like you might do at home. We just do it a couple of thousand more times. It takes a crew of 25 people about 2 days to plant them all. We weed them all by hand throughout the month of October. It's a lot of work, but it sure does look pretty.